Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, October the 3rd. Can you believe it's October?
No.
I'm Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
This is show number 1190. Where did September go? Who took our September? It just was...
For me, it was work that took my September.
Poof, gone. Just.
I agree.
It's weird. It really feels like there was no September.
Yeah, it does actually.
Our friend Vito and Becky just got back from Australia, and were welcomed to in their home of Prince George, British Columbia, to minus 12 degrees centigrade temperatures last night, which is about 10 Fahrenheit. And Dave D says it's snowing in Rousseau, Minnesota, just south of Winnipeg. Oh my God! Winter is definitely on its way.
And Calgary
had
a dump.
Yeah, like 6 inches of snow in Calgary.
Yeah.
And it's snowing it has snowed in Whistler, British Columbia.
Yep.
Here in BC. Meanwhile, Mark was asking, why are we moving to Australia? And,
did you say why or when?
Why? When? Mark, it's 18 degrees in Newcastle right now, okay? Which is...
And it's probably night. It's
60,
probably...
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's almost 7 degrees, so that's one of the reasons. But anyway, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. On tonight's show, we'll talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim has posted up 2 of his 3 expected reviews, one about macOS 10 Mojave, one about the new Apple Watch Series 4, and he's also got the iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max, which I frickin' hate the names of. His review of those 2 isn't up yet, but we might be able to get squeeze a sneak peek out of him. Unlike usual, Jim can't make it until 6 p.m. Pacific time today, so we've got a little extra break for those of you who join us at 5:45 or join thinking that Jim's going to be on in 15 minutes. He won't be. Oh, and then in our starting point photography segment, we're going to talk about the difference between portrait and landscape. And I love this. This is really interesting. So portrait mode is when you hold your camera up like this. Okay, people shoot video in this portrait mode, and you're not supposed to, but it's just the easiest way to hold the camera. Most of us take pictures in portrait mode. That's when the camera is in the normal position, and then landscape mode is when you turn your camera basically on its side, so it's longer than it is tall. That's for landscapes. That's for mountain vistas and things like that. And there's a reason why you would shoot images in in landscape mode versus portrait mode. And with the new iOS 12, Apple's had this thing on the Photos app called Memories. I ignored it. I didn't pay much attention to it. But now they've changed Memories to this thing called For You. And what happens is, I noticed this only because suddenly on my window, on my screen, it popped up, and it said, there are new For You videos or something like that. I was like, what? What's that? Tap. Oh. And it took this really interesting video of, there was several. There was one, Fuzzy Friends, which somehow managed to create a video just of the cats. No people.
Deer? Was it have
there
a
was
deer
one
in
deer,
there?
one deer shot in there. So it knew what a cat was without me ever identifying keywords or anything else to get a cat. And then I noticed that it did another one of our wedding in Australia last year, and another one of portraits of Melissa. And the interesting thing about the portraits one, it was all you. It spotted you in every single one of these photos. I didn't do anything to create this. I didn't edit the video. I had to edit some because some pictures Princess over here didn't want me to post. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the difference in portrait and landscape and why it's important to shoot in particular orientations that are suitable to the image. We'll talk about that, and also the whole For You thing. I guess because Jim's not going to be here till 6 o'clock, we can talk. We'll answer Mark's question. Mark Mac. You're new to all this, so Mac is I don't mean this directed at Mark, but it's a derogatory term for people who just love everything Apple unquestioningly.
So
Mac. They just walk on with Mac.
Okay, it makes it extra kind of out there because it's Mac.
Yeah, exactly. So our friend John Binky Welch coined that term many, many years ago. So they're called Macs. So the reason why we're moving to Newcastle, Australia, probably sometime next July, sometime around that time frame, is personally I'm miserable here. This is no, I'm kidding. As we all know, you can tell by the sound of her voice, Melissa is from Newcastle, Australia. And we went on vacation there last December 2017 for about 3.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And you hadn't been home in, 18 years?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And I was dreading it. The last place in the world, I've never had any, and again, this is no offense to any of our Australian wives, never had any interest in Australia. It was never a country, culture, a population I had any interest in. But I get there, and on the very first day, I met this amazing group of people, her family. We went to this amazing beach where I almost drowned. We had 3 weeks of so much fun and joy and love and sunshine and beach and food and happy and beach and waves and beach and
caves
and
sand in every orifice.
Sand everywhere. Well, Melissa works for the school district here in the Sunshine Coast, and they allow you to have a 1-year sabbatical, which means that she can just up and leave her job for a full year. And when she comes back, they have to give her job back. Unions. So we thought, why not? Melissa wants to hang out with her. She doesn't have any family here in Gibsons except for her sons. I don't have any family at all, period. I'm a voluntary orphan. Except for my beautiful sister and niece back home in Nova Scotia. And so we thought, well, why not? Why wouldn't we go on this adventure for a year? One of the things is for our son Rory, who's 12, who doesn't have any family here, and we saw how much he, I don't think come out of his shell was the right way, but he was so engaged with his cousins, especially his twin cousins and his older cousin Zane. And
his uncle. My brother was really taking him under his wing, and Uncle James.
So the family thing there was really important for us, and the idea that Rory can grow up with this family and grow up being a bit more, hopefully, outdoorsy than we can be here. This area of Canada is the warmest place in Canada, this Vancouver, Victoria area. It rarely snows. Canada has a reputation for being the Great White North. But it rarely snows in this area. And even when it does, it's only a few inches, and it goes away after a few days.
It's very wet and heavy.
It's very wet snow. So the upside is it doesn't snow. The downside is it rains a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot. Oh, my God, it rains a lot.
Yep, day after day after day
after day. I mean, it's been raining now on and off for 3 or 4 days, and it will continue to rain on and off.
And that's why it's so beautiful and green and lush. It's rainforesty and all that.
That's
yeah.
Right. So, but and everyone thinks, well, that's great because there's no snow. The thing is, though, you can't do anything in the rain. You can't go and play in the rain.
No.
As a kid, yes, but as an adult, we're not going to do that. But at least in the snow, you can go tobogganing and you can go for a walk, and it's quiet and it's beautiful
and sunny usually. Mm-hmm.
So there's that. The weather in Newcastle is much better. Dave D says, I bet $10 now that Shawn King and YML Melissa stay in Australia longer than a year. Any takers? Mm-hmm. That's certainly a possibility. But Rory's dad still lives here in this area. He lives in a little town called Smithers. And we obviously don't want to take Rory away from his dad for any length of time. His dad's going to come and visit us, or him, in Australia. But I don't know that we're going to be spending a long period of time there, only because Rory is 12 and he's going to want to come and see his dad. So it's a possibility, though. We'll see.
Don't know. Yeah, I mean, we'll just go with the flow right now.
As I said, our friends Vito and Becky just got back from there. And there's a lot of differences to me that are a lot more surprising. One of the things is, as Vito and Becky quickly noticed, the cost of living might be more depending on who you are and what you do. Eating out is a lot more expensive in Australia. And part of that is because wages are significantly higher in even the service industry. We're used to people who are serving us making minimum wage and they live off of tips. But in Australia, you don't tip. But service people, waiters, make $18 an hour. Mm-hmm. It's a damn fine wage. Mm-hmm. But the cost of living is higher, too. Mm-hmm. So we're not sure how that's going to work. But the cost of eating in, we felt, was a lot cheaper.
I agree. The grocery shopping was fabulous. Big boxes of mangoes for $10. And giant blocks of cheese.
4-pound blocks of cheese for $10.
For $10.
Milk, I think, was about the same price. Eggs seemed to be about the same price. Yeah. Kangaroo meat's a lot cheaper there. You can get it anywhere.
We didn't get any.
I don't think we will.
No.
So it's going to be a huge, wonderful adventure for us. Melissa, luckily enough, is very, very skilled in her job and can probably get a job darn near anywhere. You've been looking for a while now. One of the biggest problems is that I'm not going to be legally allowed to work for a year.
No, but we'll be okay for a year.
I hope so. Mm-hmm. I hope so. And the other issue is that if we're going to be there just for a year, it's cost $7,000 for me to get basically a husband visa.
Yes.
You can get a visitor visa for 3 months, but to get a spouse visa, a husband visa, to stay as long as your wife stays, I guess, is $7,000.
Well, you need a visa.
So I'm taking donations now. Kidding.
But is podcasting work?
If you were earning money from it, yes, it would be considered work. I'm assuming by the government. Wouldn't that be work?
Is it when people subscribe, or is it like a donation, or is it an actual?
I think it'd be rightly called work because you're performing the act in this country and receiving money for that act. You know
Even though the money can be coming from all over the place.
Sure, but it'd still be considered income. I don't know. Well, we'll have to find out. Dave D says, Australia and New Zealand have been on my list for a bit. It was never of any, because as I've said before, I'm a European history culture guy. That's my bias. Probably from living on the east coast of Canada, probably from living in a British parliamentary system, in a British cultural system, in Canada in general. That's just where my interests have always lain. So when Melissa and I first met, and she said, do you want to come to Australia? And I was like, no. And she was so pissed. And rightfully so. Someone says they don't want to go to your home country. I don't blame her for being upset. But once I got there, it was just mind-boggling.
It's beautiful.
It really was spectacularly beautiful.
Yeah.
We live here near the ocean, but it's completely different. You know, in here, because we're protected by Vancouver Island, we don't get much wave action, for example. It's very gentle, little bloop bloop. The biggest waves we get is when the ferry goes by, you know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a boat goes by. Someone kayakers make bigger waves and come by naturally here. It's lovely. It's very, very pretty.
It is.
The beaches suck from the point of view of sand and relaxation. They're rocky and gravelly and that kind of stuff. So from that aspect of it, you know, people say, well, you have the ocean right there. Completely different than the ocean in Australia. It's literally night and day. Vito remarked on it when they went to the beach, and they actually commented on the sand, just like I did when I was there. It was like, what is this talcum powder? It wasn't grains of sand. It was sand dust. The sand was so fine there. And the wave action and the water and the blue. And then the other thing is, one of the things we're planning on doing when we get there is going to Cairns to go scuba diving at the Great Barrier Reef. And I did not know that the Great Barrier Reef isn't off the beaches of Australia.
Yeah, you don't just jump in off the beach and
go
on
that's what
the
I thought. I thought there'd be like a jetty going into the Great Barrier Reef. You jump in and you swim around.
And take boats.
It's a 2-3 hour boat ride off the coast of Australia. And so the idea is we're going to hopefully do what they call a liveaboard, which is take a boat out to the reef and stay overnight, like basically a floating hotel, and scuba dive on the reef. Take a Rory and go scuba diving out on the reef. Yeah, David Cairns, or as Melissa says,
Cairns.
They drop the R for everything.
We're like from Boston.
We're like Boston, exactly. Just with a better accent. So that's another amazing adventure we're going to go on.
Yeah.
Rory and his dad are planning on going into the Outback when his dad comes for a visit. Something we're never going to do.
No, I don't go off the coast. Too far. I get nervous if I go too far away from the coast.
I this is, again, not meant to offend, but to me, going to the interior of Australia is like going to Saskatchewan.
I know.
Why? Why would I want to?
It's all red in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No offense to people in Saskatchewan.
I have no urge to go to Ayers Rock whatsoever. And I know I just no urge whatsoever.
I know it's
I'd love to go to the West Coast.
Yes. Skip over the middle bits entirely. Yeah. It's like Canada.
Mm-hmm. And I want to go down south. I've never been down south.
Adelaide,
I've never been to Melbourne. I've never been to Adelaide. I've never been to the Great Australian Bight or over to Kangaroo Island or any of those places.
Now, Kangaroo Island is where penguins actually run free.
They do.
We're going to Kangaroo Island.
Oh, we should ride the bike down there is what we should do. As my uncle often...
have a bike.
Well, you know.
Yeah, Monty's late.
Monty!
Where the hell have you been, Monty?
Monty.
So, Mac, that answers the question, hopefully, why we're going to Australia again in July. It's after the school year for Rory. Rory's started his first year in high school, grade 8 here in Gibson's. And so he's going to spend the first year there, and then we're going to rip him out of school. And hopefully he gets to go to your old high school, Belmont
maybe.
High,
Mm-hmm.
which would be kind of cool for him to go to his mom's school.
I think so, yeah. Wear a uniform?
Are you? Yeah, uniform. Are you surprised that the school's still there? I mean, it's.
Oh no, it's a big main school. It was always a big school.
I don't want this to sound insulting. It's old.
Well, they've done a lot of extensions and a lot of additions to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yes, that's why next July, and we'll talk more about that as things go forward. Also.
I think that's cute. Sherry says, Monty goes to stand in the corner. He's late.
He's late. So there was that, and there was something else. Oh, and don't forget, if you're interested, we'll talk more about it later too. This spectacular trip we're going to be going on in Lisbon, Portugal, next March 23rd to 30th. We are going to be going to stay in a beautiful little boutique hotel guest house called Tessero de Baixa.
Well done.
I'm so proud of myself. Tessero de Baixa. It's a beautiful. One of the great things about a lot of these hotels I was looking at is they're not cookie cutter like North American hotel rooms. I mean, you couldn't tell which room you were in a North American hotel room. But it looks like many of the rooms in many of the hotels in Europe, especially here in Lisbon, have got their own little character and flavor. Mm-hmm. That's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's funny. I've been banging on this idea that about the beds in Europe in general, and I speak from experience. I remember the first time I went to the Paris Expo, the Apple Paris Expo. And someone else arranged for our hotel rooms. And this was the bed I was in. It was literally a single bed. Mm. Jay was in the single bed next to me. Mm-hmm. And I could literally reach over and poke Jay in the head. The beds were so close together. And I hung off all four sides of the bed. Feet, head, arms, shoulders, the whole deal. It was the most uncomfortable sleep I ever had.
Oh, no.
And this was when we asked for double beds. So apparently they thought double beds meant 2 single beds. It was not good.
No.
Not good at
And you
all.
couldn't ask for...
But no, because
they didn't.
We were at a convention, so all the hotel rooms in the area were already booked up. So yeah, that was not good. JKVT can use some good Paris recommendations. I've got none because the only places in Paris that we stayed in were near the conventions area, and it's very industrial. It wasn't anywhere near the Eiffel Tower or any of that like that, so I couldn't tell you where to go there. Dave D is Portuguese is first language for you. Is it my first language? As in, do I speak it? No.
No, I think he's just teasing
I barely
me.
speak English. If anything, my first language learned was really awful French, Acadian French in Nova Scotia. And even then, it was only about grade 9, so my French is awful. So yes, that's why the hotel rooms were so important to me. And the Tesoro de Baixa has got really cool looking rooms. You go to the website at startingpointphotography.com. You get more information about the hotel. And the hotel is very kind to us, and they've given us a great deal. Basically, you put down a 20% deposit, refundable deposit, on your room. You go and choose your room. You put down 20% deposit, and it's refundable up to 30 days before arrival, which I think is pretty fair. One of the problems we were having was finding hotels that would give us refundable. You could get pretty inexpensive rooms, but they were non-refundable. And I wouldn't ask anyone to 6 months in advance book a room that was non-refundable. Because God knows what happens. Dave D is saying, and by the way, Shawn, Ann is recovering really well. Looks like it's a go. She had back surgery.
Oh.
And so there was potential that maybe she wouldn't be able to go.
I'm so glad she's recovering.
Dave D is the perfect reason why I didn't want to get non-refundable rooms.
Just in case.
Because if he had booked 2 weeks ago, and then, God forbid, Ann had issues with her back, they wouldn't have gotten their money back. And so, no, that's why I kept working to find a hotel in Lisbon that would offer us the refundable rate, but at a lower price, too. Because they'll give you free cancellation, but the price is like 25 euros a night more than the non-refundable. I didn't think that was fair. It was a few bucks, I could understand it, but 20 to 25 euros a night, the difference, that wasn't any good at all. So Tesoro de Baixa is where we're staying. We're going to be, the idea is to arrive on the Saturday, have a get-together, a little cocktail party Saturday evening. Sunday is going to be spent on the hop-on bus thing, just sort of getting the lay of the land, hopping on the tram 28 is a famous, beautiful tram there. Then Sunday evening, we will get together to talk about what we're going to do on Monday, composition 101, basically. And then on Monday morning, we're going to the Belém Tower and the Geronimus Monastery and going to the pastry shop to have the Pastel de Natal. I can't say it. But
custard tarts.
Custard tarts. amazing, amazing custard tarts. And then, so the idea is you come hang out and learn about this photography stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon you're free to go off and do whatever it is that you like to do. You can go back to the monastery if you want to shoot there some more. Come hang out with Melissa and I. There are amazing museums, and the MAAT museum in Lisbon. I'm dying to go shoot this because it's a really cool, funky looking museum. And the aquarium is very good. If you like aquariums, and we do, so we'll definitely make a trip to the aquarium. There's the São Jorge Castle to go to. All kinds of wonderful things to see and do in Lisbon. Then each evening we get back together again, have a few drinks, talk about the next day's classes, and then keep doing it. On the Wednesday, it's a free day, but I encourage you guys to come with us, because we're going to go to the amazing, beautiful town of Sintra, to the Pena Palace, the National Pena Palace, and then off to Cabo de Roca. And Cabo de Roca is the westernmost tip of continental Europe. So you're looking directly west, and it's across the Atlantic Ocean. Next stop is New York, I think, directly across from Portugal. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do that too. And then we'll do the same thing over again on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we're headed off. We're leaving on Sunday. So we'll have one extra day because we have to get back to Florence because Melissa and I will be in Florence the week before the Lisbon trip. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, go to startingpointphotography.com. The website will give you a bunch of details, proposed itinerary, information about the hotel, information about the trip itself, or send me an email, Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com or Shawn@startingpointphotography.com, and I will do my best to answer any questions you guys might have. Had someone asking about the weather. The weather is generally going to be fairly mild. Lisbon itself gets 200, I think some average of 210 days of sunshine per year. And that time of year, late March, the temperatures will be in the low, at night, low 50, mid 50s, and in the daytime, low, high 60s. So it's going to be quite nice. We're definitely going to be doing a port tasting at least once. I don't know if it's going to be an official port tasting, but I can definitely arrange that for folks. One of the other neat little things is there's all kinds of these cool little tours you can take, walking tours and food tours and wine tasting tours, and they're fairly inexpensive, about $50 all included. So if you go on a food wine tasting tour, you get the wine, you get the food, you walk around, they give you like a little tourist details about the area you're in, Alfama and Baisha and Chado. There's a bunch of neighborhoods in the downtown area of Lisbon that are absolutely lovely. Found a chocolate shop. We're going to go to a chocolate shop and watch them make chocolate and taste it.
Is Portugal famous for their chocolate?
No, they're not. Not like the Swiss or the Belgish people.
Belgish? Okay.
First time I ever said that, I went,
Belgish.
That
You're kind of
wrong.
Belgish. Yee.
I remember the first time I said that to somebody and went, that sounds wrong. Belgish sounds wrong somehow.
No.
And then I tried to fix it by going, Belgiumite? So yeah, that's not correct. Yeah, Hercule Poirot was Belgish, English and Belgian. So yeah, more details, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking about portrait mode versus landscape mode, and what the differences are, and why it's important, and why it's one of those things you should think about when you take a shot. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King. Thanks for joining me tonight. So this is our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Let me guess, you're at a bar.
I am.
Surprising no one who knows you, you are at a bar.
Friends of ours gave us sweet tickets to the opening Sharks game.
That's tonight?
Yep. So I'm at a bar down the street from the SAT Center in
Okay.
San Jose. getting ready to go to the Sharks game.
Who are they playing?
Ducks.
This should actually be a national holiday, folks, for us Canadians, because this is the opening. It's not the opening, not the opening of the regular season, is it?
Yes, today is the opening of the regular season.
Yeah, I've always believed this should be a national holiday in Canada, the opening of the NHL season. But to be clear,
it is a national holiday in Canada.
Exactly. To be clear, Jim has been and always will be a Boston Bruins fan. But...
Yes.
So you posted up 2 reviews, one of macOS Mojave and also one of the Apple Watch. When is your iPhone review expected to be up?
Probably this week.
Okay.
I would think.
Because I know
I've been holding off on that only because I want to keep using the phone, and I pretty much know what I want to say. I'm not going to dive deep into some of the things that you would like the camera, but there's a lot of stuff that I do like.
One thing I do want you personally to do is, if you get a chance, even around the bridge where you live underneath the bridge, use the iPhone 10 and the iPhone XS Max to take pictures of streetlights, of places where the streetlights are in the picture, or the sun. Because one of the most amazing things I'm seeing in the other reviews I've read of the camera is how, even though the iPhone 10 is a very good camera, the low light capabilities and the smart HDR capabilities of the Max and the S blow away the 10. So to be curious to see if you could do that. Just take some pictures with a bright light source in them, whether it be the sun or a car headlight or something along those lines.
Well, yeah, I can do that, but they'll all be blurry.
I know the photo will be blurry. I want to see if the highlights.
So they'll be blurry light and blurrier light.
Exactly. That's right. I don't know if we can ever fix that, but we'll give it a shot. If you want to hear more about Jim's unpacking the iPhone XS, the iPhone XS Max, and the Apple Watch, he did a Dalrymple report with Dave Mark. You can find it up on loopinsight.com. Let's talk about, first of all, your review of macOS 10 Mojave. You've been running the developer beta since, I guess, WWDC, right?
Yeah, really early on this time.
And you didn't have any problems with even the beta, did you?
I did not. I mean, there were a few apps that hadn't been updated, but nothing major. It was very solid for me. I know that I saw recently where people are complaining about Mojave and some things that they don't like. Yep. But I mean, overall, for me as a general user, it works great. Now, there's going to be situations, and we've talked about this many times before, with like audio, where you don't upgrade your system if you're making music. Yep. Because your plugins may not work, and there's been several companies that have put out notices to say, don't upgrade yet, because we're running through the final testing of our plugins. That's a different situation. So again, my main machine, my iMac, is on High Sierra now. Yeah. Just recently on High Sierra.
It's interesting. So, I completely skipped High Sierra. I think it's I know it's the only time I've ever completely skipped a major upgrade from Apple under OS 10. I don't know why I did. It wasn't a conscious effort. There was nothing in High Sierra that made me want to upgrade. I have upgraded to Mojave, and interestingly enough, one of the things that you commented on was dark mode.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good thing.
And you really like dark mode, don't you? See, for me, I turned it on and went, wow, no, don't like that at all.
Well, you know what was surprising to me overall about that is that I turned it on when I first installed Mojave.
Yep.
just to see what it would be like. You know, I fully expected that, you know, within half an hour I would have it all.
Yep.
And I didn't. I never switched back. My machine is still on dark mode.
Yeah.
And like I said in the review, the only thing that screwed up is the color of my work calendar.
Yes, that was funny that you said that.
My work calendar is bright orange.
Yeah.
And in Mojave, it looks yellow. Don't know why, but that's how it looks, because I started adding things, you know, as they come into my work calendar, and thought, oh my God, I've been adding things to the wrong calendar.
Yeah,
What's this yellow calendar? And when you click on it, it's orange. But when it's just in the regular calendar, it looks yellow.
That's weird.
The only time, I don't know what causes that. But.
The only time I like dark mode was the exact time that you really mentioned that you liked it as well, was when you're looking at photos. It was great to have the photos, the background in the Photos app, which I'm using for the first time as well under Mojave, having the background dark. But in email, which was, I spent a lot of time in email, the white on dark just really threw me off, and I had to turn off dark mode. Didn't like it at all.
Well, I don't mind. I mean, to write, when I write, I use Byword.
Yeah.
I use Byword to write. And, you know, it's just basically a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I write. And I really like that. I guess they classify that as distraction-free writing.
Yes.
I really enjoy that. But other than that, I mean, even writing emails in dark mode, it's black background on white text.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all. You know, so
what do you use?
It's pretty good.
What do you use as an email client, though?
Mail.
So, you know, I had a black border, but I had white lettering black lettering on white text. So my email app, Mail, didn't change the dark mode, but the border around it did. I found that very distracting.
Oh, no. You should try it again.
Yeah.
Because, mine is, my emails are all black. The text is white.
Yeah, I might try that then, see if I can't make it flip. Because like I said, that's the reason why I went off dark mode, was because of that. By the way, for those folks who want to try it, don't have Mojave, there is an app called Night Owl that allows you to dynamically, in your menu items, change back and forth from light mode to dark mode, which is actually kind of cool. The other thing that you mentioned that you and I agreed on, and I thought this was funny, that I didn't think I would like it, if only because I don't use it very often, but Stacks, desktop Stacks, is actually pretty cool.
I like Stacks.
I'm a lot more than I expected.
I like Stacks because I'm a messy person. I'm a clean person, but I'm a messy person.
Yeah.
I always have been a messy person. And my desktop was like layered 3 deep with files. And then I turned on Stacks, and all of a sudden everything went away.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's great. Damn. And then whenever I drag something to the desktop, it just zooms into a stack.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And, you can just scroll over them, and you will find everything that you need. Or, I just open a Finder window and, sort by date modified, and the screenshot that you just took is at the top, just like it always was. But your desktop looks clean.
I think the funny thing for me is the fact that in before Stacks, I like having a desktop picture change dynamically. You can get those apps that I use Urview, that will allow me to dynamically change my desktop every 30 minutes. A new picture comes on my desktop, but I didn't use it.
That would drive me nuts.
As a photographer, I like that. I like the pictures. But it was funny because I stopped looking at it because there was so much stuff on my desktop, I couldn't actually see the picture. So it was kind of pointless. But now with Stacks, I can see the picture.
Oh my God.
And so now I can go, oh, that's a pretty picture, rather than, I wonder what's behind all that crap on my desktop.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. And I never change the picture on my desktop.
Really?
I set it, and it's like that till the next year. So when the next year comes and I install the new beta, it changes the desktop picture. It stays there until the following year.
Now, I've noticed a lot of folks, before Mojave first came out as an official app, people were talking about the new version of Safari. I don't like this new Safari. I was a Chrome user before, and I'm using both Chrome and Safari now, but I find Safari has made some really weird glitches and changes that I'm not a big fan of. For one, Discus, it cannot never remember my login data for Discus. So I have to constantly, when I'm commenting on a website in the Loop or other websites, I have to constantly log in under Safari, but that doesn't happen in Chrome. Have you noticed any issues with particular apps?
Nothing like that. I think you got a bad version.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. The other thing I noticed I just noticed it today, is that now I know that 32-bit apps are going to go away as of this version of Mojave. Are any of do you have that concern? Are there apps that you're going to lose that you won't upgrade because of this?
No. I have no apps that are of any concern. None.
See, for me, the biggest one, and this sounds funny, is the old version of QuickTime 7. The new version of QuickTime doesn't allow really quick editing, where you can just really quick edit audio, edit video, export to a MOV file or MP4 really quickly and easily. So I'm going to be really disappointed when QuickTime 7 it no longer works under the next version of the OS. But while it works now, video still play, audio still plays. It turns out, for me anyway, recording. I use QuickTime 7 to record the audio of this show. I saw that today. It no longer will allow me to record audio going into the Macintosh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not good, because I use that as a backup in case my other apps don't get the audio for the show. So it's a little disconcerting to not be able to have a backup recording of the show. But that's one of the few things I've seen under Mojave that isn't working properly for me.
You know, one thing I saw the other day, I did a show with Chuck Joyner, and Chuck used an app called Zoom.
Yes.
That recorded all of the audio and video. I had never heard of it before. But, you know, like he said, at least he doesn't have to use Skype. So.
Yeah, that's right. There's a bunch of other minor things in Mojave. Most of it seems to be the exact same. I don't notice a lot of significant differences. I don't know. I haven't noticed any kind of speed increase. I haven't noticed anything crashing. Except for that QuickTime 7 issue, all my apps work the exact same. It was the typical, for me anyway, seamless upgrade that I'm used to using the Mac OS.
Well, I found the last few versions of upgrades to Mac OS very seamless.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm quite happy. I am. I'm quite happy with Mojave.
Yeah, same with me. Folks, you can go to the Loop at loopinsight.com and do a search for review macOS Mojave. You get more details of Jim's review. His iPhone review won't be up until next week, but you also did a review of the Apple Watch Series 4. Now, you have been an Apple Watch user from the very beginning. Anything significant with the Apple Watch Series 4 from a usability point of view?
Well, I think the biggest usability thing is the size. When I first put on the watch, and I think I put this in the review, when I first put on the watch, I didn't notice much of a difference in the size of the watch. You know, on my wrist, it felt about the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of, I thought, okay, you know, that's fine. And then I tapped it, and the big screen came up, and I thought, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So the usability got better because I can see more. I can, and therefore I can do more on my watch with just a tap. Like if I'm looking at the weather, or I'm looking at Apple Music or something. Although Apple Music, I have it on my watch face, but typically, if I'm using my watch for Apple Music on a watch, I'll just use Siri and say, play some music.
Yeah.
And Siri will play, from my watch whatever I want. But I use quite a few timers. I've come to learn for cooking and stuff.
Yeah.
And the activity stuff now is way down in the lower right-hand corner, so I can see, even without my glasses on, because I'm looking now, I can see whatever I need to.
You are using a particular watch face, the particular complications of the watch face. I've got a picture of it up on the screen for folks who are watching the video. You've got Apple Music in the upper left. You've got temperature in the upper right. Lower left, you've got looks like a timer. And what is that on the lower right that you've got as a complication?
Lower right?
Yeah, it looks like, is that
would be activity.
Oh, I see. It's the rings, but it's also the numerical value of the rings.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Now inside it, you've got a calendar, the heartbeat, activity. What's the one on the left-hand side at the number 9 position?
Battery.
Oh, okay.
So everything that I need is right there.
Yeah.
It's all right there.
Now, how customizable is that? I mean, can you put the Apple Music symbol, for example, in where the battery is, or move things around inside and outside like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not the way that I customize that for my own usage.
Yeah.
So, that's not the way that it normally is.
Okay, good.
I put all kinds of different stuff in there based on what I use. So, I use timers a lot around cooking. So I put the timers down there. And, the activity. And like I said, Apple Music, I put that up there because I use Apple Music a lot. But then after I did it, I realized I just use Siri to play Apple Music on my watch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's interesting. I like that idea that because the watch face is larger where the watch body isn't significantly larger, you can add so many things to it. Is there a danger, though, of information overload on a relatively small screen?
No, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at that picture of the watch face, there's a lot of room there.
Yeah.
And more room than what I would have suspected that there would be. And that's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because I thought if you put eight complications cost a watch, things are going to be jammed together, and you're not going to be able to tell what you're looking at. But that's not the case.
Yep.
It's really nicely spread out, and they've rounded the corners where the complications go, so everything just kind of fits into what you have there. So I really like it.
Mosquito says, I'm not certain I'd have that many complications as my default. What happens if you have fewer complications? For example, if there's 8 there, what happens if you leave a gap? Would that look really weird?
Well, I haven't tried to leave a gap, but there is an option to not put something in there.
Yeah.
So I had enough where I could put it in. So.
I get the sense that it would look off balance if you didn't have something in all 4 corners and something in all 4.
Well, I guess it depends on where you.
Did I lose you, Jim?
There you are.
There we go.
We're back.
So interesting. Now,
I don't know. I think if you only had 4 complications and you put the 4 around the outside and nothing inside, then it's not going to look like a circle with a blank space. It would just take it out completely. So then you would have a watch face.
Yeah.
With complications around the outside. So it's still going to look good.
Mosquito asked earlier in the chat room, how's Jim's, let me find it, where'd it go? How's Jim's fitness regimen going? Is he maintaining it?
My fitness regimen basically goes now on the time that I have. So it's been very, very busy lately. So no, it has not been maintainable. It probably should be because it's very simple. But, when you get tied down into doing things and writing things, you just kind of waste the day away, doing your work, and you don't get out. So I have done, as much as I can, but not like I was.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you always worry about with any fitness regime, any fitness level, is that after a period of time, either you get bored with it or, like you said, life takes over and you're not able to do it as much as you used to. Do you think the Apple Watch can help get you back on track, or is that not going to matter? It's a matter of your lifestyle as opposed to the device?
Well, I mean, Apple Watch gives me all the information that I need. It tells me at the end of the day, you know what, you only walked 15 minutes today, or you only did, 2 minutes of exercise today, or whatever it is. So I have the information, and I have the information to change what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's just that when I wake up the next morning to all the stuff that I have to do, then I sit down and start working on that stuff, and, there goes another day.
Yeah, yeah. And you really have to make an effort to carve out that time and make sure that from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm going to do the exercise as opposed to, oh, no, I'll let that slide. So, yeah, I definitely understand. It's one of the things that Melissa and I have been talking about is whether or not we want to get an Apple Watch for each of us to get us on a schedule as well, too. And it's interesting to hear that you say that, life sometimes can take over. But as you said in your review on loopinsight.com, you're still doing some of it. You're standing when it tells you to stand. You're doing those kinds of things, right?
Yep. I try and do whatever I can. Now, if you live by the hard and fast rule that I am going to close these rings, no matter what, then yes, the Apple Watch will help you, because you can look down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and see I've done 2 minutes of exercise today. And that's because I had to run in and get a beer.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, I'm going to put on my shoes and go for a walk right now for 30 minutes and, do something. So, but I stopped following the regimen of the rings, and maybe that's a bad thing, I don't know, but I stopped following the regimen of the rings because I still had the information.
Yeah.
And when things get busy, then I have the information to make my decisions, and, work wins out. So.
Is there a concern now with the fall detection stuff? Is there a concern that, you just had a birthday, so fall detection is on automatically for you?
Wow, what an asshole.
Is there, oh, no, it's going to get worse. Hang on there. Is there a concern that being a known drunk, you're going to have a lot of false positives?
No. No. I think that fall detection works really well, to be honest with you.
It has, you haven't triggered it, have you?
I think that the idea of fall detection. Now, I'm not one of these stupid reviewers that's going to go out and fall on purpose to see if it calls 911.
Exactly.
I am not. But Apple says that it works. Hey, I'll take your word for it. If I fall and die and it doesn't work, then I think my kids will probably sue. So.
Well, one of them will.
Yeah.
Because your son wants your guitars. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. So, things like fall detection and the EKG and stuff like that. That's game changing stuff.
Yeah, the EKG,
especially for older people.
Yeah, that's right. I posted a story up on the Loop today about a pseudo review of the Apple Watch from the point of view of a bunch of seniors. I thought it was really interesting. The reviewer took it to a assisted living home and had a bunch of seniors look at it, and they generally really liked the idea overall of the watch, not only the heart rate monitoring, the EKG, but the fall detection and things like that. So it's interesting to see the different demographics and the different people who can benefit from different aspects of the Apple Watch. I think the issue comes from people like me who are not concerned about fall detection, not concerned about heart rate things, not necessarily a fitness person. Is there still a room in my life for the Apple Watch? It's great to see you at the end of your article say that you still get up every day and put your Apple Watch on. I think that's a testament to the Apple Watch and its usability, that you're still doing it after all these years. I've got a beautiful Tissot watch, but I don't put on anymore. I don't wear my watch anymore. And you weren't a regular watch wearer before the Apple Watch either, were you?
No. Well, I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
But
me too.
then, phones came, and that was my watch.
Yep,
but
exactly.
This is so much more than a watch that, now it's on my wrist first thing every morning. It is off my wrist. It's the last thing I do before I get into bed.
Yeah.
The very last thing. So, I have the 44-millimeter one, the big one.
Yep.
And right now, I've had this on since 7 this morning. And the battery level is at 83%.
Wow.
And I've used it all day.
Yeah.
A text come in or whatever comes in, I'm looking at it, I hold it up, whatever. Music is playing on my iPhone. Well, the screen is on my watch is on that music.
Yep.
And so that is a normal day's use. So by the time I get home from the hockey game tonight and, finish everything up, it'll probably be at, I don't know, 75, 70% maybe. So it can go 2 days. Yeah,
you said that in your review. You have gone on occasion a couple of days using it. So that's a testament to Apple's been able to put a lot more stuff into it and yet still get really good battery life out of it. Folks, if you want to read more about what Jim says about the Mac OS X Mojave or about the Apple Watch, go to loopinsight.com and check it out. Also, he's got an unboxing Dalrymple report with Dave Mark available up on the iTunes store. Jim, enjoy the hockey game, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks very much to Jim for joining us here before the hockey game. I appreciate him making the time to join me while he's off having fun. One of the things that we haven't talked about was, and I know Monty and I had a rant about this on iMessage, I've always hated when Apple makes changes to things for no good reason, for no explicable reason. I remember back in the days of iTunes 4, you used to be able to, in iTunes, select an item, do Command R for reveal, I assume, and the Finder would pop up showing you where that thing was. iTunes 4 comes out, I do Command R, nothing happens. Command R, I don't know where it is. I go up into the file menu and scroll down, and I see that it's now Shift Command R. Okay, so I wonder what took over Command R. So I went through all the menu items in iTunes, and nothing had taken over Command R. Command R didn't do anything. Apple, why did you change that? There was no reason to change that. So they do this every now and then for completely inexplicable reasons. A perfect example is the iOS 12 and the stock app. Now, I'm not a stock market guy. I don't know anything about the stock market beyond what the average person knows. I'm just curious every now and then. I want to see what Apple stock is doing. Is it doing well? Is it doing poorly? If I see a news item about Apple, I'll go to the stock app and see if it's affecting the stock. So I got used to, on iOS 11, what the stock app looked like. And it gave me all the information I wanted in one screen on my iPhone. This is what the old stock app looked like for me. So right there, you can see at the top, there's in the middle, Apple stock, Starbucks, Nike, and the other ones there, I don't care about. I didn't put those in there. I just left them in there from before. But I can see what Apple stock opened at, what the market cap is, what the 52-week high is, what the 52-week low is, what the high for the day, and what the high for the low for the day is. That's the information I want from the Apple iOS app. So I install iOS 12 and open the stock app, and this is what I see. And my first thought is, what the hell's going on here? Where is the information? Well, if you look at it, you can see on the right-hand side of the screenshot, there's some information bleeding off the edge. Why? Why is that doing that, Apple? Why do I have to scroll over there to see that? And by the way, that text below, bringing iPhone assembly to US, that's the first thing you see when you open up the stock app. That's whenever you open the stock app now, that text story takes up the lower half of the screen. Why? I don't want to see that text story. I don't care about that text story. In order to get to the open, high, low, and close, I have to tap on the Apple stock. I'm doing that now on my phone. And now at the top, I've got a scroll of the NASDAQ results for the day, the Dow Jones results for the day. I don't care. I don't want that information. And then on the bottom, I'm still getting Fox Business videos. Apple's Tim Cook slams big tech companies. I don't care. Get that off my screen. And I've got to scroll back and forth on the text to find the 52-week high and 52-week low and average volume. It's just really annoying when Apple makes changes to things like this without informing the user, without any logical reason for doing it, and without making it better. It's pretty obvious that this does not make it better. It's more clutter. It's more confusing. It doesn't remember the last state it was in. So in other words, every time I open up the app, I've got to swipe down to get rid of the news text. I have to swipe across in order to get the other information I want. It's just really annoying when Apple does things like that. This is my little rant. Monty, I agree with Shawn. I don't care about all that stuff. I'm not a hardcore stock guy. I just want this little blurb of information that I usually get very easily on iOS 11 that in iOS 12 has changed for no good reason. We'll talk more about iOS 12 on next week's show, screen time and other things like that. But I just wanted to get that little rant out of the way. When we come back in the Starting Point Photography segment, we're going to talk about the difference between portrait and landscape mode and why it's important. All that and much more coming up. This is Your Mac Life.
Hello, my name is Melissa King. I'm Your Mac Life's official spokes Australian. As Shawn begins his 25th year of broadcasting on the internet, he has asked me to say a few words to you all. Send money. What? Why not? More? Okay. When you listen to Your Mac Life, you'll notice there are no ads, no commercial breaks, no 5-minute ad reads for products you've already bought or have no interest in buying. That's because Your Mac Life is entirely listener-supported, and not even listener-supported via a paywall or a subscription service. It's simple. If you like Your Mac Life, you can pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, you don't have to. You can still listen. But we'd really like it if you did. On the Your Mac Life homepage at yourmaclifeshow.com, on the top left, there is a subscribe to YML box. You can send any amount you'd like each month automatically from your credit card or PayPal account. It's set for $2, $5, $10, or $15, but you can set it for any amount by clicking
Melissa,
the
1
donate
minute.
button. The best part is you'll barely notice it. It's $2, but it makes a huge difference to us here at Your Mac Life. It means we can pay for website hosting, internet access, new computers and software to run the show on, and so much more. So, if you like Your Mac Life, please subscribe. $2 will make a tiny dent in your wallet, but when enough people subscribe, it makes a huge difference to Your Mac Life. I'm Melissa King. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday evening. If you're tuned in live, thanks very much. If you're listening to the archive, well, thank you very much for being tuned into the archive. I mentioned this. I posted actually a couple stories about this on startingpointphotography.com videos. There was one last week, portraits of Melissa, and one today I posted up about our wedding video. This was a factor of iOS 12 on the iPhone and a new For You feature that the Photos app has. And what happens is, unbeknownst to me, unbidden by me, this window popped up and it said, Shawn, you have new For You videos. I went, I didn't even know what that was. Clicked on it and said, Fuzzy Friends. What the hell, Fuzzy Friends? And I tapped on the video and it showed me a video of our cats.
I thought it might have been my legs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
What
Shawn's fuzzy friends. Okay. And a deer.
Oh, my goodness. It was interesting, though, that there are a bunch of other animal videos. I've got videos of the wonderful major dog that my friend Michelle had in Portland. I've got pictures of Kaylee, the greyhounds that we had in Portland. But it only picked up on the two cats and a deer. A female deer. But so I thought it was kind of interesting. And so I watched the video and went, oh, this is kind of cute, and moved on. A few days later, some indeterminate amount of time later, it popped up with the portraits of Melissa, and it was interesting in that I haven't marked any of these pictures. I haven't said this is Melissa. I haven't said that this redheaded person is my wife. I haven't used keywords. I've done none of that kind of stuff, and yet the 1.5-minute video was all images of Melissa, which I thought was kind of cool. But when I was looking at the videos, because I was watching the videos, I took these pictures. I thought something odd about them, and I couldn't figure out what it was until I turned the phone to landscape mode and watched the video. And the videos came out differently. They had a different feel to them depending on whether the picture was in portrait mode or whether it was in landscape mode. And it really comes to the fore in this. I'm going to show you guys two videos. Sorry, I'm going to block your face here, Melissa. I'm going to show you guys two videos of the same thing. The videos are of our wedding last December in Australia, and we went down to Australia to get married again. And so I'm just going to resize these videos so you guys can see them side by side. And right there, we can already see the difference in the videos. Hang on, let me get the background. Change desktop background. Make it go black. Make it go black. Make it go black. Desktop background black. There we go. Quit. Okay. So you can see right here, just from this one image, the difference in the image. The left-hand side, the image shot in portrait mode, was shot by me intentionally in portrait mode because I wanted to get this beautiful shot of my wife, the way she's sitting, the beer in her hand, the beautiful look on her face. That was the image I wanted to get. But in this video, when it was in landscape mode, it cuts her off. First of all, it cuts her off in a bad place. It cuts her off at the breasts and at the wrist, which is something you don't want to do when you shoot video. But it loses some of the image. It loses some of the impact of the image because landscape isn't portrait. So now I'm going to play these two videos for you guys, and we're going to see the difference. So here's both these videos running side by side. And I'll stop them as I see images that... Here's a perfect example of landscape versus portrait. The landscape version of this shot is much, much better, in my opinion, than the portrait one. Because the portrait one cuts off that ship that, for me, was the center of the image. The reason why I took the image was the kite border, I guess that's what they called. The kite border and the...
Parasailing.
Parasailing. No, is it parasailing?
Is that not parasailing?
I don't know. So that's the downside of portrait mode in this particular example.
But I'm sorry, why would you have did you take that picture in landscape mode?
Yes.
Oh, I see. And then they decided to put it in their special little show for you in portrait.
Well, the reason why it was in portrait mode in the video was because I was looking at it in portrait mode. It couldn't take the video and it couldn't take that landscape video and squish it down to portrait mode and leave black on top and black on bottom.
Okay.
The image would have been too small, first of all, and you would have had the black bars on the top and the bottom. So what Apple did is basically leave it the way it was and kind of zoom into it or zoom out of it, depending on what they need to do, in order for it to fill the entire screen. So here's another shot of the wedding. Let me just scrunch this up a little bit. So again, the portrait mode of this shot. Oops, hang on. The portrait mode of this shot is so much better than the landscape mode of this shot. I like that it shows a longer image of me. I don't need to see that stuff in the landscape mode of the shot. I don't need to see that stuff on the right-hand side of that image to my left of the image of the fence. Let me go back a little bit. Another example of how it doesn't work as well in landscape mode as it does in portrait mode. You and your brother Brad, I love that image. You're walking down the pseudo aisle we've got there. And while I like the pathway behind you, I don't like the cars and the houses and all that stuff behind you guys. That's distracting. I would prefer this. So right now, so far, portrait mode is winning in this particular little competition. Now, in that case, in this case, portrait mode doesn't work as well as landscape mode.
No.
So that's why while these videos are nice, you have to be careful that these videos that Apple is creating for you fit what you want them to fit in a style point of view, in a storytelling point of view.
Although you're saying now that people should be cognizant that Apple's going to be putting these little, treats together for people. And
yes. Now, if Apple's putting these things together for you and you like them, that's fantastic. But keep in mind that the images are going to change depending on the orientation of your phone or the orientation of the video when you export it. When you send it to them, you'll send it to them either in portrait mode or landscape mode, and that might make a difference to the story you want to tell of the image. Here's another great example of it. In portrait mode, it takes these two pictures that you see in the landscape mode and plays them one after another. See how it did that? There's the first shot, which is the one you see on the right-hand side of the landscape, left-hand side of the landscape one. But it shrinks up the image in the landscape mode.
Yeah.
The landscape image in this case is much, much better because the whole family is there.
Yeah, I like that.
But they've cut the family out of the portrait mode one.
So Dave is asking if they can be edited after their story has been created. I think I asked you that question yesterday.
Yes, they can, and I know for a fact they can because Melissa told me to get rid of some of the photos.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. Well, no, that was to get rid of. It wasn't edit. Oh, I thought Dave was meaning edit the actual photographs, not take out.
No, I couldn't see a way to edit the photo. And the other issue is there's no way to change the timing of the photos either. So say you wanted to make the photos be in a different order. Obviously, Apple is using these in chronological order. So it's looking at the metadata, EXIF data of your photo and seeing that you took it at this time and this time and this time. So the photos are following the path, the timeline that you shot them in. So if you want to tell a different kind of story, if you want to tell a non-linear story, you can't use this For You app to do that because you can't move the
You can't. Dave's
around.
asking you, and you also can't flip the orientation.
Not of individual images, no.
Okay.
You can flip the orientation of the whole movie or into portrait mode or landscape mode, but you can't take, for example, in this image, you can't take the right-hand image and turn it into portrait mode on the landscape one. Now, in this case, I think landscape works better.
Do you?
Usually you'd say that the portrait mode one would work better, but I like the idea if this is a story video, we already know what the lower half of our bodies look like. So there's no need to see them again in the left-hand portrait video. I want to get closer to the two people who are being involved in this.
Okay.
I like the fact that's Melissa's Uncle James doing the ceremony. I like the fact we can see Uncle James. You can see his beautiful shirt. We can see his beautiful brown skin. But the important thing is your smile is more important than on the portrait mode being able to see your feet.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We've already seen your feet in previous videos. Is basically what I'm saying. Another example of how the video will take two images in landscape mode and put them side by side, whereas in portrait mode, they'll do them one after another. Another example of how the portrait mode works so much better.
It really does.
Because in landscape mode, she's a little further away. There is that distracting white element, which is one of the relatives there. You're much closer to her cute little face. She did her own makeup.
She did. She's so different to her twin. Her twin is extremely opposite.
Oh, it really is funny how these two identical twins
and they're identical.
aren't identical at all. But in this case, the portrait mode shot works so much better. Another great example of how the portrait mode cuts off the story. It cut out the family.
Yeah.
This is a family image. You want the whole family in the image.
Landscape is much better.
Much better. But you couldn't put the landscape shot in portrait mode because it would shrink down so much. People would be just these tiny little blobs. So that's where you've got to make this balancing act, this decision of how do I present the story to people? And it's why you got to pay attention to how images are shot, whether they're shot in landscape mode or whether they're shot in portrait mode. You have to pay attention because it does affect the presentation of the image. Melissa's beautiful cousins.
Beautiful cousins. More beautiful cousins. Well, that's my nephew, actually. There's my brother. My beautiful brother on the right there.
But see how in the landscape, in the portrait one, they did it. That's
my aunt.
There's the two twins.
The twins.
One of them doesn't want to be there.
She always looks so intense.
More cousins. There's Rory and Jasper.
Rory and Jazz. Beautiful picture of Tasman.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah, it was just a treat. It was such a treat because we hadn't really put together anything. And there's Koa, the piece de resistance, the picture of Koa.
But so there's. Let me go back. Here's another example of how portrait is different from landscape, because look at the wedding cake. The portrait shot of the wedding cake this is your cousin Alicia did this beautiful wedding cake for us.
Speaking of beautiful, she's stunningly beautiful. We didn't get a great shot of her at all, hardly.
No, unfortunately. But the landscape shot focuses kind of more on the kids.
Yeah, no, I like the portrait for the cake because, yeah, it shows.
So while I really like the idea of these For You videos that Apple is presenting to us, I'm not saying be careful how you use them, but pay attention to how they are shown in your video. Make sure that that's the way you want it to be. It's a really neat little thing. Excuse me. It was a really neat little thing to have these little videos pop up.
Yeah.
Fuzzy friends and portraits and big day. And it was literally randomly it's in the morning, because it's happened as I've woken up and opened up my phone in the mornings, and these wonderful little videos pop up, and they're not perfect. One of them said best of the last 2 months.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. There were shots from a year ago.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that.
So how often should you expect these?
I'm going to assume I give you 3 or 4 days. The other thing about these videos that really brings a sharp relief to me is you've got to go through your camera roll and get rid of your shitty images, because it will include shitty images in these videos. And so you want to delete your shitty photos.
Well, it encourages you to clean it all up and
right.
just have your good ones.
Now,
so I have to upgrade. Then if I upgrade to iOS 12, will I get this
yes,
too?
You will. Now, I think it was Dave D was asking about editing these things, and you can edit them. It's not intuitive how you edit them, because you'd think you'd go to this screen and you'd see an edit window up there up in the top, but you don't. You get a share screen. What you have to do is start playing the video, tap on it again as it's playing, then hit edit. Counterintuitive, Apple. Then when you do that again, you'll have the editing options there at the bottom. It says photos and videos. You tap on that, and then at the bottom of that, you've got the image timeline that you can scroll through. And all you can do is hit the plus symbol on one side or the trash can symbol on the other. You can't edit that individual video picture while you're in this edit mode. You can go back into your Photos app and edit there, but you can't do it in this app. It's a little bit annoying.
And so if it's used one and you think, I just want to get but will it reuse the same photographs? Because we haven't. Oh, it will.
You can choose which photos go in and which ones get deleted.
Yes.
When you hit the plus sign, you'll see a list of all the photos that it's going to use in your video, and you can uncheck some of them and recheck others to make it use the videos that you want. The biggest downside is, as I said before, the timeline on the bottom. You can't dictate where an image goes in the timeline. Like I said, the beautiful image of Melissa in her wedding dress holding the beer, I wanted that to be the last image of our wedding video, but I can't do it because the time on the app, I took that picture before I took the other ones, so it's putting it in that.
So you
timeline.
have to think about that.
Sometimes,
it's tricky because when you take photographs at an event or traveling, you sort of don't think about what it's going to happen when Apple does this. Yeah.
Dave D, if I edit the picture prior to the video, does it include the edited picture? Yes, if that's the only picture.
Yeah.
Plus, you can always edit it prior in the Photos app or in the Camera app, and then go into the edit of the video and add the one that you want and take out the one that you don't want. It's not as elegant as it could be, but for just quickie videos, just quick stuff that you want to send to family and friends is not something you want to.
Oh, it's lovely.
You're not going to post on Vimeo for award-winning videos. I posted up on YouTube, posted up on startingpointphotography.com, just posted on Facebook so our family and friends can see it. It was a lovely little video.
Oh, so did you put the wedding one up?
Yeah, put the wedding one up.
Good,
and
good.
The portraits of Melissa one I put up too.
Yeah.
I think they were both really, really well done, all things considered. Considering this thing is just grabbing the stuff, it's not bad. Yeah, no, Dave, this is quick stuff, like you said, useful and easy.
Yes.
I can see us using this in Lisbon.
Yeah.
I'd love to have people. What would happen is that everybody would send me like their best shots of Lisbon. I'll dump them in my camera roll and just create one of these Lisbon, maybe a daily thing of your iPhone shots, and then we can post those to the website. Just little things like that, which would be kind of cool. I know I got. That's right. We got some stuff to give away. We have our first winner tonight of the Lonely Planet Guide. We're going to award one of the Lonely Planet Guides to a lucky listener of the show. They've got new titles out there. They've got Discover New York, Paris, London. They have Best of the USA. They've got a whole guide for Texas. They've got guides for Italy and Iceland and Ireland. And then you can browse guides by continent, Central America, Antarctica, Africa. They've got a whole bunch of little pocket guides for weekend trips, and you can browse by series. So there's a whole bunch of different pocket guides that you can choose from. You don't have to be going to Lisbon with us. You can just be a regular person. If you win and not planning on traveling, get the guide for your own city. It's something I always encourage folks to do, is that so few of us ever explore our own city from the point of view of its history, its culture, how a tourist sees your city. Get the guide if you're in New York and you're not a tourist. Read what people say about New York. Read what people say, how people are portraying your city. I've read Vancouver travel guides. I've read Halifax travel guides. I've even spotted some mistakes sometimes. But so if you win and you're not going with us to Lisbon, don't think you have to get the Lisbon guide. You can choose whichever guide it is that you want. So this is going to be thanks again to the folks at lonelyplanet.com for letting us do this. So I'm in my folder, and all you got to do is say stop whenever you feel like it. I'm going up. I'm going down.
Stop.
It's going to go out to where'd it go? It's still going. Oh, we go. David Sace. dsace.com. He's a digital marketing consultant.
Oh, right.
Congratulations, David. You are the winner of the Lonely Planet Guide.
And so David can go in and just choose whatever he wants.
Yes. So David, choose whichever one you want, and let me know what it is, and I will send that.
Well, MacMan had his hopes up.
Well, no, we've still got 5 more contests to do.
I'm just going to send it out there that MacMan's going to win one too. I'm rooting for you, MacMan.
Okay.
I am.
All right.
Oh, you nerdy guys don't get this, do you? This whole.
Now we're going to give away a copy of Clean My Mac 10 for a lucky listener, thanks to the nice folks at MacPaw.com.
Stop.
This goes out to Arthur Boucher. Arthur wins a copy of Clean My Mac 10 from the nice
Congratulations,
folks.
Arthur.
Clean My Mac X. That's why I remember who this is going to go out to. That's weird. Why was that? Oh. Strange. You can always enter a contest. It's easy. Any contest doesn't cost anything to enter the contest. You go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there at the top of the page, you'll see the contest entry form, Friends of YML entry form. That sends me an email. You fill that out with your email address. I drop your name into our virtual hat, and we give you an entry form each month. You have to do that once each month. Duplicate entries will be deleted, except unless you are a subscriber to Your Mac Life. If you subscribe for $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever amount of dollars per month that you would like to subscribe to the show, we will give you additional entry forms for every $2 above your initial.
Sorry. I'm sorry, MacMan sent you a bribe. MacMan sent you a bribe. And then Dave is saying that the people in the IRC could have like a 10 times extra chances. I'm just
trying to do a show here. Sorry. So are you saying you want me to give something away just to the folks in the IRC?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are they special?
Because they're special, because they're my buddies too now. I know all those other folks, which lovely people, I'm sure, but I agree with Dave.
Okay, are we going to give away a copy of Clean My Mac to the IRC chat room?
What do people think? Clean My Mac or Lonely Planet?
Lonely Planet Guide.
Which one? Lonely Planet Guide or Clean My Mac?
I can't believe I'm letting her take over like this.
All the cool kids. It's true what Monty says.
What do you say?
He says all the cool kids are there. All right. So, yeah, we're great, says Dave D. Okay, so what do we do?
Tell me. Will we give away a copy of Clean My Mac?
Okay, Lonely Planet.
Lonely Planet Guide.
Dave D says, all right.
But how do we pick somebody?
How do we do that?
I can't see IRC right now.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a number.
Okay.
How many people in the IRC? Not including me and you.
Oh.
And Evan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
Okay, so that's a multiple of 5. So, so 3.
But we won't do the bot.
12, 17. I'm going to count 17 times the names there. Who's ever the 17th person wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Dave D, 17.
Aw, Mac Man. Sorry, Dave D. Aw, poor Mac Man.
Jeez.
But congratulations, Dave.
Are you trying to rig the contest?
Oh, hell yes, says Dave. Okay, so Dave got it. That's cool.
Were you trying to rig the contest?
No, not at all. I couldn't rig it.
Dave D sent me. Oh, Dave's coming to Lisbon with us. Dave and his lovely wife Ann. So, Dave, if you'd like, you can get a Portugal guide, you can get a Lisbon guide. Go to lonelyplanet.com and go to the guide section, and we'll get them to send you off one of their guidebooks. Thanks very much, Dave D. Evans is qualified.
So sorry,
he can't
not
read.
sorry.
Lost control of the show there for a second. Oh my goodness. We got oh, you know what? Oh, that's something else that came up with that video. Now, one of the neat things about the videos that I showed you guys, you didn't hear them, was the music. When you do a video, when these For You videos pop up, I'm just going to do this, you can choose at the bottom, you've got a bunch of different kinds of music. Dreamy, sentimental, gentle, chill, happy, uplifting, epic, club, extreme. And the icons change, the text changes as you go across there too. So that's kind of nice.
It is.
Except when you take those videos and export them to YouTube.
What happens
I
then?
posted these 2 videos to YouTube, and I get a copyright claim was created for content in More For You videos, Our Australian Wedding. A copyright owner using Content ID claims some material in your video. This is just a heads up. Don't worry, you're not in trouble, and your account standing is not affected by this. There are either ads running on your video with revenue going to the copyright owner, or the copyright owner is receiving stats about your video views. The content was for the music.
So,
Apple is not giving you royalty-free music on these videos. So you have to be careful about that. I don't care. But if you were trying to make money from this, you were selling these videos,
then you might be in trouble.
Then you could get in big trouble. Or if you're trying to make money off of these videos, so say I had 1 million views on this video, and YouTube was going to give me ad revenue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be getting it. The copyright owner would be getting it. So you got to be careful. I'm very surprised about that. I always thought that Apple, the audio that Apple put into
kind of like
things
canned music
was canned music, but obviously it's not. So
okay.
MacMan, a guy I know who wrote his own music, got a copyright claim. I've had the same thing happen to me with the Your Mac Life music that Digital Drew created for us like 15 years ago. Someone, Digital Drew, accidentally put a copyright claim on it because he had it going automatically. YouTube checks every single video, or not every single video. I have no idea, but it matched up with Digital Drew's music. And he got a copyright claim against me. He was like, "Hey, Drew!" He was like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry."
Oh.
Dave D, what do you need from me for the guide? Dave, send me which guide you want and your mailing address, and I'll send it off to the nice folks at Lonely Planet. So thanks very much. Folks, that's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks very much, as always, to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com for joining us. Don't forget, he's got his reviews of the iPhone, the iPhone S and Macs are not up yet, but the Apple Watch Series 4 review is up, and Mac OS Mojave is up. And we'll talk about our feelings about iOS 12 on next week's show. Also, thanks to you guys for being tuned in, whether you're listening in to us live or whether you're listening in to us via the archive. And obviously, Melissa is taking over a certain aspect of the show. So you want to be live in the IRC, because apparently your chances have doubled if you are nice to her.
Oh, no, it's not what it is.
And are in the IRC. It's a combination of two things. You have to be nice to Melissa and be in the IRC. So keep that in mind.
And how do people get to the IRC?
Monty says, Monty, you're there. Oh, sorry. To get to the IRC is easy. Monty, I think he's doing this to get the props. Monty set it up very, very easily, very conveniently. When the show is live, you go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there below the video on the front page, it's a very easy way. All you do is put in a username, a handle, a Twitter handle, whatever your name, and it drops you right directly into the IRC. Simple and easy. I want to thank Monty very much for doing that for us. I want to send a special shout out, see if I can't get this up in time, to a brand new listener. A guy said he's been listening to podcasts for 5 years, but he only just discovered Your Mac Life. He's in the UK. His name is, come on, Twitterific. I'm trying to flail around here, trying to get, I think his name is Don. Don, is that you? Don, Bubby,
Don.
Bubala. There we go. Don just told me that he had never heard the show before, but now he's now a fan. Dave Knott. Dave, let me just find out where Dave is. Dave is in daveknott.co.uk. I suddenly lost Melissa's video. I don't know why. Crap, he's an iOS developer? That's it. I can't see where he is. Anyway, Dave Knott, brand new YML listener. Thanks very much for...
Another Dave?
Oh, geez. No, the whole thing just crapped out.
Oh, good Lord.
God damn it. Yep, Google Hangouts crapped out everything. I think the audio is still working, right? Yep, of course. The audio is still working for some people. Oh, God, I hate this. Folks, as always, I want to say thank you very much. I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!
Bye.